of the Argent tournament or the Grand Tournament Hearthstone reveal. And it seems like they have a lot of new stuff from Gamescom that was released yesterday, which is basically like August. So really cool. We've seen some of the new cards. We didn't see all of the new cards, and we also don't know anything about the ranked rewards yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what's gonna happen here. Anyways, so first of all, it says Gamescom is here, and with that, new card reveals for the expansion. 13 new cards have been revealed, including some Paladin flavor, which are found below. In these cards, there's a non-keyword mechanic called Joust, which is just makes sense. Basically, yeah, it says mini duel, which requires the player who initiated Joust to randomly reveal a card, and the opponent also reveals a card, and whoever has the higher cost wins the Joust. So let's start with Skeleton Knight. Oh baby, let's make these bigger because we're reviewing these cards as they go along. So 6 mana, 7/4. Death Rattle, reveal a minion each deck, and if yours costs more, return this to your hand. So you actually get this back when it dies after the Joust. So in a sense, it's a 6 mana, 7/4 that draws itself half of the time. Obviously, with this mechanic, you can make a more control heavy deck or a more expensive deck, and you can get more value out of it. So now you have to ask yourself, do you really want to drop a 6 mana creature that draws itself? This is really the only 6 mana card that draws a card, right? You have stuff like Ash Drake. I compare this to like Ash Drake and like Gnomish Inventor and stuff like that. But the only downside is, of course, it draws itself. Sometimes you might not want it to draw itself. Really good in top deck wars, I guess. But otherwise, I don't think this card is too good because 6 mana drops are very high impact. Sylvanas, Emperor, stuff like that. And drawing a card at 6 mana doesn't seem like it's the best idea. Super Control would maybe like this, but still, I don't think it's that insane. Plus, this is also 7 attack. Very vulnerable to BGH, and 4 health is also vulnerable to spells that deal 4 damage. Although it's much better than 3. So I think this is not going to be too crazy in Constructed. I don't think anybody's going to be like, I gotta put this in my deck, right? In Arena, it's not bad. I think I would use this in Arena. 50% chance of drawing itself. It's card advantage, and card advantage in Arena is pretty relevant. Alright. Next card, we have a Paladin Legendary. It's pretty cool, pretty cool. Edric the Pure. And change all enemy minions attack to 1. I'm pretty sure this one was in the Argent tournament as a quest giver. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it's like a mass Aldor. And when I first looked at this card, I was like, oh my god, this card is insane. But it's actually just not that insane. So first of all, you gotta remember that you have to hit more than one target for this to be good, right? It's 7 mana creature. You need to make it do more than it's valid, right? So if we look at all the 7 mana creatures right now, the only ones that are super good are the Ancients, right? Ancient of Lore and Ancient of War, and obviously Dr. Broom. Everything else is not really played that much. Not even Neptulon, right? So like, this has to hit a lot of targets for it to be good. And now, another thing, if you think about this more, is what do you want to put this against? What matchup is it good against, right? Against Hunter, you're pretty much dead anyways. You don't want to reduce their enemy minions attack to 1, where you should be taunting and healing yourself. They're still going for your face. That's not really that good. Against Patron, they still have a lot of patrons, and the fresh patrons you still have to deal with. So it doesn't really help that many matchups. And against Handlock, I don't know. It feels like it's already a good matchup for the Paladin, right? You got like Aldors, normal Aldors anyways. So it might be too good. It might be a bit too overrated. I can tell. I can see people overrating this card a little bit too much. So I don't think this is better than say the what's that called? Tyrion, obviously. Tyrion is still pretty insane. And for a 7-drop, I would really look for something else. I think this is too expensive. Although it's pretty cool, I'll be looking forward to playing that card and see what his voice actoring is actually doing and stuff like that. Argent Lance is a paladin weapon. Very nice graphic. I really like the graphic. It's Battle Cry, reveal a minion in each deck. If yours costs more, this turns from a 2 mana 2 attack weapon to a 2 mana 2 attack weapon with 3 durability. The problem with this card is that getting a durability isn't really that important. You get what I mean? Compared to like Stormforged Axe, right? So you need to have 50% chance to be a Stormforged Axe, and at the same time, it's just a Stormforged Axe. So like, what are you really gonna clear that much in the early game, right? The dream opening would be like this against like a Temple Mage, but even then, you're not really that ahead with like a 2 attack weapon. And it's definitely not better than Shielded Minibot, right? Shielded Minibot just kills something and you have a 2/2. This kills something and you have a 2/2 weapon, or even the 2/1 weapon. I don't see this being played at all in Constructed. In Arena, it's actually pretty good. 3/2s are very prevalent in Arena. So I would pick this card and be pretty happy about it. Not bad at all. Armored Warhorse. So once again, you reveal a minion each deck, and if yours costs more, you gain charge. It's a 4 mana 5/3, and you basically compare this to Corcoran Elite, and Corcoran Elite has been falling out of favor because, you know, I remember when the game first started, Corcoran Elite was really popular because it goes face, and you get a 4/3, and that's basically, you can wear them down. You don't need to out Straza. You can just, you know, play normal cards, but it's been falling out of favor because, you know, if you trade with it, it's really bad. It's like a weapon charge that there's only 1 charge. So for this one, once again, same thing with Corcoran Elite. The most efficient way of using this card is to hit the face. You do not want to trade. You want them to trade instead. And this might spawn a new you know, deck type with like very mid-rangey that costs relatively highly, but like, it's trying to do what it's not supposed to do, right? If you're smoking your opponent, you should be playing like a cheaper deck that's more consistent. But at the same time, to make use of this, to make advantage of this effect, you have to be playing a more expensive deck. So it's definitely something, some interesting balance issues there. Do I want to go too far to the control side, or do I want to do too far to the smoking side? I would say that this is not that good a card, but you know, some people can do some insane creative things with it, and anything that has charge is really good. You have to be very careful about it, you know. Yeah, but you really want to hit the face with this card. In Arena, that card is fine. I mean, it's not the most insane, but it's fine. 3 health is not that good, but it's okay. And oh no! Tuskar Jouster is only Paladin? Oh my god, really? Oh no! Oh man, I thought this was a neutral card. That is so sad. Oh, that is so sad. Well, I guess it makes sense because it would be insane in Handlock. But basically, I saw this before and I didn't know it was class specific. Tuskar Jouster is really cute. Look at the turtle. How can you not want to fall in love with this card? It's 5 mana 5/5. So it's basically Lotheb again. And Battlecry reveal a minion each deck once again, and if yours costs more, you basically get an anti-heal bot, which is insane. Now, because like it's Paladin specific only, it's less insane, so we're gonna see less of this card. But this is just a better Shielded Minibot. I mean, just a better anti-heal bot, right? Because like, if like we're not talking about the Battlecry, right? 5 mana 5/5 is a very good stat line. It's always been the best stat line. You see the Shield Maiden is always being played, Lotheb's always being played, Sylvanas, Emperor. Why 5/5s are really good is because it kills Belcher, Shredder doesn't kill it effectively, and your opponent needs to be spending 5 damage to deal with this creature. So very difficult, right? Eviscerate +1, Flame Cannon +1, doesn't die to Frostbolt, doesn't die to Shadow Bomb. Shadow Bomb? What's that Warlock spell called? Shadow Bomb, right? No. Oh no. That escapes my mind. Anyways, the 2 mana spell that deals 3 damage, you know. 5 health is really buff, so that's always good. And this is obviously better than anti-heal, but even though it heals half the time, right? So for example, if you just take the 50% route, it restores 3.5 health. And it's basically kind of like a Farseer, but you can't look at it that way because it restores 7, right? And when it procs, it's really insane. So good body, good effect. I see this card being played a lot, but being Paladin specific, it might see a little bit less play. And it seems like Paladin always gets 5/5s, right? Every single time. Even like with the Dragon Consort, it's always 5/5s to the Paladins. It's pretty cool. Oh man, this guy looks pretty... his face is pretty intense there. Master Jouster is a battle cry, reveal a minion in each deck, and if yours costs more, you basically become a Sunwalker with +1/+1. I think this card is very, very good. There's a couple of reasons for it. First of all, once again, I just explained the stat line with the 5/5 things, right? A 5/6 is even more insane because not only does it inherit these the stats of what I just said, it also trades for 5/5s now, so it's like a one step ahead. There's not a lot of 5/6 minions in Hearthstone right now. I believe there's actually none. With 5/6 is actually kind of a new stat line. The only card that you can really compare this to is Toshli, because it's kind of like the same thing. It's trades for 5/5 and it has an effect. Now, if this actually procs, this is nuts, right? If you can actually use Master Jouster, proc it, and kill a 5/5, this becomes a 5/11 effectively, right? With taunt. Nuts. Okay, absolutely nuts. If it doesn't hit, then okay, you're really sad about it. But then you still have a 5/6 body, and once again, we already said that 5 attack, 5 health bodies are really insane. So I think this card is actually pretty good. Whether this card can actually fit with all those Sylvanas and Emperors remains to be seen. But you know, definitely check out this card, especially for control. Mid-range and control decks, you know. Next one we have JAJAJAJAJOUST. We have reveal a mini each deck if yours costs more, gain +1/+1. It's the same thing as like the horse just now. You know, if you're playing cards like these, like you can't really take advantage of this effect, right? It's a 1 mana cost minion, and you need to win the joust for it to become a zombie chow, where you can just play a zombie chow and it works 100% of the time. I don't really like this card, especially in what it's trying to accomplish, right? It could be found in aggro decks, but at the same time, the joust mechanic does not favor aggro decks at all, right? You have very cheap cards and whatnot, so I'm not sure if this card is that good, but it does communicate the effect of, you know, this as well. Like, remember the lowly squire, right? Communicates the inspire effect. This kind of communicates the effect, but it doesn't seem like it's trying to do what it's supposed to do. It's, you know, the balancing thing. So I don't see this card being played at all in either. I guess in arena you could play it. It sometimes becomes a 2/3, but playing a 1/2 in arena is really, really bad. It just dies. So yeah. Muckless champion. I like this. It's pretty cute. It's a 5 mana 4/3. And every time you use a hero part, it gives your other minions +1/+1. Seems like something that can, you know, spiral out of control. Especially because, like, if you play this and you have a board, it basically becomes a part of the wild every single turn unless you deal with it. Which basically makes sense, given his stat line, 4/3, very easy to kill, and also is very expensive, right? 5 mana 4/3s. You don't want to play a 5 mana 4/3 ever, unless it has a very insane effect. So, the first thing that comes to mind is, will this be used in, say, a token deck? And the answer might probably be leaning towards no. A 7 mana, effectively, card to buff all your creatures by +1/+1. Seems pretty optimistic, I guess. Obviously, it's a really good card in certain matchups like Priest, you know, because they can't remove it and they can like really abuse this power. But at the same time, I think this is not going to see play in Construct. This is just because it's too expensive. In Arena, it's actually really good because in Arena, usually people do not remove minions right away. It's a lot of minion combat. And anytime you increase health of any creature, right? Flashback Undertaker. Oh my god, Undertaker, right? So like any card that increases its own health repeatedly has to be very dangerous. So I would say that this is actually a fine card for Arena, especially for the token decks. So for example, like Paladin Shaman, where they can actually summon stuff with the hero power or anything that actually makes more stuff. So yeah, not a bad card in Arena, I would say. Oh, these are all new. Oh man. Ancestral Knowledge. Draw 2 cards, overload 2 as a shaman card. What? So it's like an arcane intellect, but it's a 4 mana arcane intellect. So I think, man, I don't know. First of all, I would say that this card is insanely good because shamans have card draw now, right? You don't remember shamans having card draw ever. The only card draw shamans have is ancestry. No, it's Manatide Totem. So you go like, wow, shaman's actually getting a card draw, very cool. And then they slap these costs on top of it. It's just like, you know, here's a cheesecake and in your face, you know, kind of. Why would you ever want to play a 4 mana draw 2 at the first place? And plus, I think like the overload mechanic is just insanely bad. You play this at turn 2 and then you have a 1 mana turn. You play this at turn 4 with a hero power or a 2-drop, and then you have a 3 mana turn. Oh man, that's really abysmal. And I don't know why, but it seems like Blizzard, either 1, is very afraid of overload being too good, or 2, is actually like misvaluing the overload mechanic. You get what I mean? Overload should not be factored into the cost of the actual card. So for example, like overload basically states that it's worth 1 mana crystal. That this text coming 1 turn earlier is worth 1 mana. It's not worth 1 mana because you have to pay it back. It's a very cool mechanic, overload, don't get me wrong, but they're overvaluing it way too much. Especially with cards like Lava Burst, right? Like the only way to use Lava Burst correctly or efficiently is that you kill your opponent with Lava Burst and never pay the overload. So that's one way to actually abuse this mechanic, but this is it's pretty disappointing. Although shamans do get card draw now, so in Arena you would pretty much like to draft this just because 4 mana draw 2 is not that bad in Arena, but yeah, this is pretty disappointing. I think shamans still feel like they're on the back end in this expansion. Bolster is a warrior card. It looks like a warrior card due to its the design there, and says give your taunt minions +2/+2. So here we see another theme with King's Defender, right? King's Defender says 3 mana 3/2 weapon, and if you have a taunt minion, it's a 3/3, right? Give your taunt minions +2/+2. It's pretty interesting in that it's a really insane Power of the Wild, right? But at the same time, you can only choose this option. Give your taunt minions +2/+2, and just not evaluating the effect. Things that can only proc off one thing is really, really difficult to use and very, very situational, right? A card that I compare this is Demon Fuse, where if you do not have a minion at all, it actually sits in your hand and it does nothing. So very, very dangerous. Are we gonna see a new deck type with Warrior with a lot of taunt creatures? So and then we're using King's Defender. Maybe, because the one card that we see that is really good is Dread Corsair. And Dread Corsair is a card that when you play a weapon, you get very cheap taunts, and then you can play something like that. Maybe it can get effect, but otherwise this card is actually pretty abysmal. I don't see this being played at all, unless there is a Onyxia card that summons 6 taunters. And even then, it's kind of sketchy, because this card doesn't do anything by itself, right? And it needs to hit at least 2 minions for you to be worth it. You compare this to Mark of the Wild. Mark of the Wild, you can always cast it on any minion. This one, you have to cast it on taunt minions, and you have to hit 2 creatures with it. Too difficult to use. And then next card, we got Burgle. Seems like it's a rogue card based on the design there. And it says, add 2 random class cards to your hand from your opponent's class. Wow. Wow. So, as a priest player, I'm really sad now, because this is basically a Thought Steal plus, right? It's basically a Thought Steal plus. Now, why this is better than might be better than Thought Steal, is 2 reasons. Because first of all, you're not copying from your opponent's deck. You're copying from your whole opponent's class. So, for example, if you're playing against Mech Mage, there is a chance you get an AoE, and if you're playing against a control, I don't know, handlock, you get a chance to get something like, you know, burst. So like Power Overwhelming, Soulfire, Dark Bomb, you know, stuff like that. So in that sense, it's actually pretty good. Secondly, why this is better is because it's class cards. Class cards are generally more highly valued than the normal cards because they have a better stat line. You know, Outdoor Peacekeeper, Goblin Blast Mage, etc., etc. So like, this is better in that way. The drawback of this card is that it cannot steal legendaries, or at least neutral legendaries that you can't steal. But yeah, I find this card to be pretty insane. Whether this fits in Rogue or not remains to be seen, because Rogue is all about, like, you know, tempo, you know, playing a minion or clearing a minion. This is an Arcane Intellect for Rogue. Yeah, but like, imagine like if you're playing against, I don't know, classes that you normally can't kill. So like Warrior, for example, and then you somehow and then you burgle a Gorehowl, you burgle a Iron Juggernaut, Grommash, you know, Rampage even. Jesus Christ, like Arcana Reaper, oh my god, like class cards are really insane. So you gotta be careful with anything that has, like, you know, these kind of effects. So I think this is a really good card, and with this and Anubarak, we don't know what Anubarak does yet, right? With this and Anubarak, I might be playing Rogue. There's a very high chance. Love this card. Rated like at the high 80s to 90s, actually. Injured Kerfalder. Oh, Battle Cry is so it's basically a 1 mana 2/1 that you can heal up to a 4 health. So another card that priests might be interested in looking at. Imagine if you can do this plus you know, Blade Master and then circle to heal them. Very, very cool. This actually enables priests to play Northshire Cleric and actually have a target to heal. But let's be honest here. A 1 mana 2/1 doesn't really make the cut, right? I mean, 1 mana 2/1 is like really awkward, especially in like a control deck. But this is definitely a control card. You would not play this in an aggro deck because you would play Leopard Gnome instead. You would play Clockwork Gnome instead. Why the heck are you? Can you ever heal this minion? So this is basically a card for Priest. And I'm not really sure. It seems like it could be used. It could be tried. But why won't you want to play Zombie Child instead? You get what I mean? So my assessment of this card is maybe just moderately fine. 40s to 50s. I don't see this being insane, and neither should you, because at the end of the day, it's still a 1 mana 2/1. Yeah. Oh wow, chat, you're right. Actually, you're saying the Hungry Dragon can actually make this card. That's true, but Hungry Dragon doesn't see that much play either. So Arena, you might don't want to see this 2/4. That's pretty cool. And Recombobulator, Recombobulator's not gonna be too insane here. Oh my god, and then Legendary. Gormog the Impaler. Battlecry, if you have at least 4 other minions, deal 4 damage. Oh my god, that's that feels really difficult to do. Because 4 other minions. So this is your 5th minion that you have to play. That seems pretty hard to do. But the funny thing is that you're not really paying too many stats for this cost. You're just paying like 1 health, a Yeti, right? 4 mana 4/4. And it does seem like it is a smart card. It seems like, you know, if you're playing Hunter, you obviously have a lot of minions sometimes. And if this actually goes off, it's basically a Huffer plus because it has a big body. Yeah, I guess you consider this in Hunter mostly. Other classes have have a very hard time keeping minions on the board. Another card I could see this happening is maybe Paladin with Muster for Battle. But even that is kind of a stretch. Yeah, it's kind of a stretch. Although 4 mana legendaries are pretty cool. We do need more 4 mana legendaries. There's not enough right now. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really hard to do. Having 4 minions on the board plus having this effect. And at the same time, if you're a smart hunter, do you really want to... Is this effect really that much? Because, like, you could just play something like, I don't know, like the horsey that just charge the face. Or you can just play a Wolf Rider and 3 guaranteed damage, right? This is not guaranteed damage. And the only upside for this as guaranteed damage is you get a bigger body out of the deal, right? Yeah, you just get a bigger body out of the deal. So, even then, it's not really that good for Smart Hunter. So I don't rate this legendary too highly. In Arena, it's perfectly fine. Because it's a fine legendary. Legendaries sometimes can be very troll or cho, right? So if you actually see this against Lower Control and Millhouse Mana Storm, then by all means you can pick this card. Alright, and it seems like we have new ranked rewards. Interesting. New mechanic is Joust and new ranked rewards. So yeah, we know about this. Getting past rank 20 each season will give you a chest at the end of the season with better rewards the farther you go. Oh man, we're getting some chests, man. Chest value is determined by the highest rank you've earned that month, obviously. And chests contain the monthly ranked card back in addition to rewards like Arcane Dust and Golden Cards. Good, good, good. Very nice. So let's see here. This is cute. So oh, so it's like basically what you get, right? You earn. So you can actually fall below a certain rank and you can still open it. So for example, you're rank 1 and then somehow you go back to rank 20, but you still can open the rank 1 chest. That's pretty cool, I guess. Looks forward to every month, start of a new season, I guess. Helps a lot. For example, a player whose highest rank was 17 will receive a golden common card, 20 dust, and the season card back. So it seems like it's all predetermined, the reward. Rank 5 actually, oh my god, wow, that's a lot of golden cards. 3 golden cards and 5 dust for a rank 5. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yesterday's card reviews and stuff like that. We do need to review these cards as well because we didn't do it yet on the video. Druid Saber is a 2-mana 2/1, and it's either a Bluegill Warrior or it's a basically a 3/2 stealth creature. Pretty strong. But the problem with this is that does it really fit Druid, right? It's a 2-mana card, and Druids really want to ramp up to their value creatures. Sure, you can say, oh, this is pretty cute when you can Emperor with the combo and, you know, add additional 4 damage for a total of 18 burst damage or something like that. But I think it's a little bit too optimistic. Because when you run 2-mana creatures, you run out of cards really fast. And Druids do not run a lot of card draw, right? So, in a sense, this is a good card, but in a sense, does it really take the spot of something like Darnassus Aspirant? You know, I'm not really sure, but it's one of those very versatile cards, and it's a good design. I like the design of it. In Arena, I would say that this card is really insane. You would always pick this card. Very, very good card in Arena. Crowd favorite, whenever you play a card with Battlecry, you gain +1/+1. Over half the cards that are playable right now have Battlecries. And once again, anything that increases its own health is pretty insane. And it's a 4-mana 4/4. So you're not really paying any stats once again for this effect, which is pretty cool. I see this card being super good in Arena. And in Constructed, it has to be really specific, right? Really, really specific. Could work in a... It's actually funny because if you play this card, then Pile Shredder becomes a little bit worse because it doesn't have a battle cry, but you still want the Pile Shredder anyways because Pile Shredder is insane. So we'll see. Something cool might brew up, but if something cool does not brew up, then this card is really bad. We got the next one is Bash. Bash is a warrior card. Deal 3 damage and gain 3 armor. The first impression of this card would be like, oh my god, it's really, really good. It's insane. It's basically a Holy Fire plus. It's basically Holy Fire, to be honest. Remember there was a Penance in Priest. It was deal 3 damage and heal 3. It was a card that was really core in Priest, but it got removed. It got changed to Holy Fire, which was a shame. But you give it to Warrior right now, it seems really good. But I actually think this card is not that insane in Warrior. Because would you really want to play this when you already have weapons to clear stuff with? You know, you have War Axe to clear stuff, you have Death Spike to clear stuff. Do you really need the 5th weapon that once you cast it, and that's all it does, right? Another way to look at it is like a Wolf Rider. It's exactly like a Wolf Rider, right? 3 mana, deal 3 damage. Gaining armor is kind of like the extra plus, or compared to like Frostbolt or Dark Bomb, right? Deal 3 damage. And so you pay 1 more mana for 3 armor. In what world would you want to pay 1 mana for 3 armor? Like, no, you don't want to do that. Not even Priest wants a 1 mana heal for 3, right? It has to have like something else that summons a creature behind it. So I think this card is a bit overrated. I don't think this is gonna be too insane, and I don't think this card is gonna be used too much. In Arena, it's fine. Whatever, we'll pick this card. In Arena, you're not that picky. And of course, Brave Archer is a hunter card. If your hand is empty, your hero part becomes deal 4 damage. Cool, I guess. It's really hard to see this working even in a smart counter, because if you play this at turn 1, it's pretty bad. If you play this later on, then sure, it's kind of like an abuser sergeant that activates its effect immediately. But I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't think smart counters would even like this card, right? Yeah. It just doesn't feel that good. Which is fine. It doesn't have to be all the good cards. I don't think smart counters would actually use this card. I might be wrong, because like the dream would be to have 2 Brave Archers, right? And then use your hero power every turn, and your opponent can't kill it. And then it's like, oh my god, deal 6 damage. Just fireball them every turn. But I think that's also pretty optimistic, and I don't think this is actually really good. You want to be playing stuff like Leper Gnome, guaranteed damage. You want to be playing Abuser Sergeant, more guaranteed damage than this for sure. And you do not want to top deck even if you're a smart hunter. Master of Ceremonies we didn't review yet before the last video. If you have spell damage, it becomes a 6/4. That's really insane for a 3 mana drop, right? Super Spider Tank, anybody? Double attack. But obviously spell damage minions are really hard to come by. You gotta use something like Thalnos, Azure Drake, and maybe even the Spell Power Totem from Shaman. But that's really much the extent of that. And because of that, I don't think this is gonna be used. Mini Mage is trying to be too cute. Like if you Mini Mage and then you play this card, by that time it's already turn 5. And your opponent should have more answers to deal with a 6/4 at turn 5 than turn 3. So the dream is to play a 2 mana Spell Power and then to put this out, right? That's the dream. And seems pretty hard to do. So, yeah. In Arena, fine. A 3 mana 4/2 is fine. Right? 4/2s are naturally okay. It does trade upwards. But to activate this effect, you have to have more spell damage. And it's the epic slot, so should be more epics by then. I think we also reviewed all the other cards. Yeah. We reviewed Flame Lance, yeah. Alright, so yeah, these cards are the last ones. Yeah, the Nasus Aspire is really, really strong. It's let me say a Wild Growth that puts a creature into play, right? If you kill it, it basically becomes unwild growth. Now, why this card is actually fine is because when you play this and it survives 1 turn, you actually get a free coin, which is really cool, right? So Darnassus Aspire into Shredder, and they kill this guy, and you still have a turn 4. So that's pretty cool. But it's not better than Wild Growth. It's not strictly better than Wild Growth because when you top deck it, I'm assuming that you do not draw an extra card for excess mana. And that's really, really bad. Playing a 2 mana 2/3 at turn 10 seems pretty bad. So I would think that this is a one of in most Druid decks, that it can be upgraded for more consistency. But 2 Aspirants might be a bit too much. Once again, your Druids do not want to curve that low, right? Very, very troll thing that comes out of Shredder, by the way. Does nerf Shredder a little bit. Speaking of another card that nerfs Shredder, Wrathguard. It's a 2 mana 4/3, and based on how it's worded, overkill damage will also attack your hero. So effectively, yes, warriors can shield slam this for 30 damage and kill your guy immediately. I think that will be how it works, because otherwise this is just a better Flame Imp, right? And it doesn't make sense from a design perspective to just make a more fat Flame Imp. It doesn't make sense. So this card might be a bit too the drawback might be a little bit too much for Zoo to run this, or like even Demon Log to run this. So I don't see this being played at all. So Wrathguard can go ahead and go out on a date with Succubus because they're both not going to be played, aside from Shredder shenanigans and Bane of Doom shenanigans. The drawback is way too much. And you know, for 1 stat less, you got Knife Juggler, you got like even Ooze, for example. You'll see this card being played. And finally, we got Shadowpan Cavalry. 5 mana 6/7. If you can combo it out, the dream is obviously to backstab and play this as a Boulder Fist Ogre. And I think with all the new role cards, what they're trying to do is to make Tempo Rogue a thing, or like, you know, mid-range, right? Tempo mid-range, kind of like another priest, but you got Shadowband Cavalry now. You got the card that was just up here, Burgle. That's basically a Arcane Intellect for Rogue, and yeah, it seems like Rogue is getting a little bit of a priest treatment, and to be honest, Rogue is kind of getting more interesting to me by the second. Yeah, I actually might play Rogue because now that they have Thought Steal, now they have a pretty good tempo cards, and they have good AoE with the